Hello, welcome in. Welcome to Let's Talk Sports with Rick and Jack. Hello, Jack.
What's going on, sir?
Still in New York. Man, what a vacation.
Ah, I wish it was just a vacation, but hey,
It's a
I'm glad to
working.
be able to join you in our weekly show. So,
Well, thank you. It's been a working vacation.
yes, sir.
You still doing stunts for The Rock out there?
No, not really.
That's all done.
Yeah, he's on a promotional tour now, so the work's done.
With the new movie. Yeah. Does he get upset that you're a little bigger than him? Huh?
No, hey, at least he has the millions to be happy with, so he's all right.
No, he's done well for himself. You'll be back for our show on the 10th, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Just a
In the
programming.
studio.
Yep, in the studio. Just a programming note for all of you followers. On the August 10th, we will film our Let's Talk Sports show, of course, which we do weekly. We're going to take a break next week because I'm going to go on vacation and Jack's going to be on his way back from New York. So we are going to take a break next week, but on the 10th we'll be back up and moving. I guess you'll see our show on the 11th, early on the 11th after it's edited. Also, we will pick up and start in full swing our NFL show for all of you to look for on the 10th. We're going to film that, and from there we'll be doing weekly NFL shows where we'll be giving out 3 to 4 great picks that you can be doing. But that, of course, the season doesn't start until I think about September 6th, something like that. But we'll do some stuff about the camps and talk about different things. But this week we're exclusively doing Let's Talk Sports, so please enjoy this show. Again, thank you all for being great NBA followers with our NBA show. That was a lot of fun. And again, congratulations to Giannis and his great crew of ball players. And what a great season for them. What a great organization. And boy, Giannis is enjoying it to the fullest the time. So anyways, let's get started. We're going to talk baseball first. There's a lot going on. We got about 60 games left, Jack. Who's impressing you right now? Which team looks like they're the leader?
It's still got to be Boston right now. Boston look like they're just playing team ball and winning and doing everything right. San Fran, I'm surprised the Dodgers haven't overtaken them yet. But guess what? They're still winning.
Well, isn't it
They
interesting
might
though?
be the real deal.
Well, isn't it interesting that you bring up the Dodgers and Giants? Last weekend they had a 4-game series. The Giants took 3 out of 4, won 3 games as walk-off, and their big star for the Dodgers, their big reliever, the big man, Kenley Jansen, blew 3 saves in a row. What's going on in Dodgerland? Is he not capable anymore? He's been the man, and he lost 3 in a row. What's going on there with Dodgers relief and really Dodgers pitching? I mean, Trevor Bauer, we don't know when he's going to be back. Kershaw is on the reserve list, injured with his elbow. I mean, are the Dodgers going to catch the Giants? I said they'd catch them by the end of the month, which they haven't yet. Maybe they will. And you were a little more optimistic. But are the Dodgers? Are they really going to be there?
Yes, absolutely. You got to understand with all those injuries, and you would consider right now pitching woes, and they're still only 2 games back.
Yeah,
it's okay.
They're close.
It's just what I'm surprised with is actually how, in a sense, San Francisco, they just continue to win and basically pulling off 3 from you guys last week. I was fortunate this week. I was able to go see the Mets while I'm here.
Good for you.
We actually saw a doubleheader, and I was disappointed in the play where they just can't get any offense right now, and it's disturbing because it's basically this is the time of the year where you're getting everything just right, and they're not hitting the ball. So I'm disappointed with the Mets right now.
No, Alonso hasn't had a great year. I mean, he likes to fashion himself as the biggest banger in the game and all this home run derby stuff, but home run derby doesn't win championships. Good for you in home run derby, Pete Alonso. But what's the problem there? They're not pitching to him. Well, what's going on with Pete Alonso? Because he's really not carrying that ball club the way he should.
No, I thought they were going to basically steamroll the Braves, and they couldn't get any runs on the board. It's just the second of the doubleheader, they score 1 run. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, New York, like what's going on here? You can't win like this.
Has the pressure gotten to Lindor? He is not the player he was in Cleveland. Well, what's going on with him?
Same thing. I think as much as we were saying that the pitchers, with the whole sticky stuff on the ball, at the end of the day, hitters got to learn how to hit. What they're doing is they're going for the home run. They're not going for cycles. They're not just trying to get on base. They're trying to either go big or go home, and that's what's killing them right now.
Yeah, I've always contended that when a American League hitter, ball player, goes to the National League, the strike zone is different. The umpires call the game differently, and that's a well-known fact. And I find, and vice versa, when National League hitters go to American League teams, I find that they struggle the first year. And if you look back through history, you'll find that a lot of great ball players that switched leagues saw new pitching, saw the way the strike zone in the American League is different than the strike zone in the National League. And
correct.
That is what happens to these guys. And Lindor really has not adjusted, and I'm surprised because he's a fine ball player, but Alonso and Lindor got to pick it up for the Mets to win it, because one of these days maybe Philadelphia is going to pick it up and play ball. I mean, Philadelphia is ridiculous. Atlanta is ridiculous. They're playing 500 ball, and they're just not catching the Mets. It's not like the Mets are setting the field on fire. The Mets aren't playing that great a ball, but neither is Atlanta and Philadelphia.
The Mets are 9 games over 500, but they're only 3 games leading, the Phillies that are only playing 500 ball right now.
Yeah, and Atlanta's got so many injuries that it's going to be tough to make it.
But then why can't the Mets beat them? It's like, at the end of the day, like right now, when your opponents are down, this is when you should be making strides. Look at, say, even the Chicago White Sox
playing great ball.
They're playing great ball. In fact, they're one of 4 teams in the AL that has 60-plus wins.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, I'm glad you brought up the White Sox. They continue to play well despite some injuries. Now they're starting to get guys back. Their second baseman is coming back. He had a pectoral injury. He came back last night. So White Sox are playing good ball and continue. They have the largest lead by far in baseball, and they continue to play well. Like you say, that American League is loaded. I mean, take your choice. Like you said, 4 teams over 60 wins. Tampa, Chicago, Boston. I mean, these are teams.
And Houston.
And Houston.
Don't forget Houston. Houston,
I
we thought
think
there was
Houston-
a problem, but they keep winning.
I think Houston may be the best team, but Tampa really made a great acquisition of Nelson Cruz. They traded with Minnesota to get him. They didn't lose a lot, but immediately his first game he hit a home run that helped him win the game, and I think he's hit 2 home runs in 4 days. Nelson Cruz is a big acquisition for Tampa. With the trade deadline on Friday, it's coming up. Between now and Friday, you see any big moves made in that American League to keep up with Tampa Bay? Because I think Tampa Bay is the best team. Tampa Bay and Houston, to me, are the best teams. I know you like Boston. Rafael Devers, by the way, what a beast. He's eating it up. He's carrying Boston. Devers is on fire. So, I mean, I know you like Boston to be in the World Series, but they're gonna get any players, or they're good with what they got right now?
They're good with what they have right now. I just think when you for this time during the year when you're gonna do trades, you're looking more for relievers. If you have problems with relievers, and I don't think they do right now, to go on a postseason run. Whereas I think right now, like you mentioned earlier with the Dodgers, they got to consider: do we need to trade and get a reliever that's more consistent, or what's the problem? Is it just a pitching tweak, or whatever the case is?
Yeah, candidly, it's been up and down the last couple of years. I mean, that guy has been great, a great reliever for the Dodgers. Man, I mean, he throws hard, and he's a great ball player. But I mean, that was a rough time against the Giants, because literally, if he closes those games, the Dodgers are in first place. If the Dodgers win, the Dodgers literally could have won 4 out of 4 games. That's the crazy thing about it. 3 blown saves. And fortunately for the Dodgers right now, Chris Taylor, who I always thought was a journeyman player, is having a bang-it-up year. I mean, the guy makes the All-Star team. The guy's carrying the Dodgers right now. He's got more home runs than anybody since the All-Star break. So you say people that are not real purists of baseball, you mention the name Chris Taylor for the Dodgers, and they say, who? A lot of people, I say, Chris Taylor's, who? I say, he's been with them about 3-4 years now, and he's been a good player. He's been in and out of the lineup because they're so loaded with bats. But Chris Taylor is literally carrying the Dodgers the way Rafael Devers is carrying Boston. So you find the teams that certain players get hot, they can literally carry a ball club. And that's what, in talking about the Mets, you got to get Lindor and Alonso hot. You think the Giants have the ability to hang on, or do you see anybody else being any good? I mean, in the National League, you got the Dodgers, the Giants, the Mets are playing.
Let's not forget Minnesota, or I'm sorry, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, not Minnesota. They got the worst record in baseball.
Yeah, Milwaukee. The Brewers are surprising too, and they've kept the space between them and Cincinnati pretty much the same all season so far. So hey, let's not be surprised if they, if they're contenders over even say the Mets. The Mets are not really doing anything, and even San Diego. San Diego's let's not just say the Padres. You don't think the Padres can do anything right now?
You know what? To me, the Padres are a disjointed ball club. They're winning, but they'll win 3 in a row and then lose 5 in a row. I don't see the leadership and the discipline with that team. They make a lot of errors. They are one of the teams in the league that makes so many errors and makes so many bonehead plays that I don't think that San Diego is well managed, to be honest with you. I think that they got a lot of talent. They got a lot of good players, but I don't think they have enough pitching to get there. They may make it as a wild card team. The Giants are going to make it either winning it or be a wild card team. We'll see what happens. Playoff baseball is so different. The game changes so much. The pitching, batters are waiting on their pitch. Playoff baseball is much different. In the end, I think, it's so hard. It's so hard in the American League to pick that team that's going to win because, as you said, like in basketball, it's who gets hot at the time of year. Who's really hot? Who's the hot ball club? I can't help but think that Tampa Bay is going to go on and take this thing and go to the World Series again and win it this year. I think Tampa Bay is a loaded team, and that acquisition of Nelson Cruz, huge. But it's hard to talk about. Next week we'll have much more information. There's going to be some trades. People are talking all over the place that Chris Bryant is going to be traded from the Cubs to a big team. Rizzo is from the Cubs is going to be traded. 2 big name ball players that make a difference. So trade deadline is big. Trade deadline is big. But right now, for me, I say Tampa Bay and Milwaukee in the World Series. That would be my teams. And we were pretty good on basketball, so we'll see what happens. But who you think right now with 60 games to play is the 2 best ball clubs in your mind? And it's tough to say. Pardon me?
Boston, San Francisco.
I like it. Boston is legit and they're well managed. Cora he's a great manager, and it's.
And the only reason why I didn't pick the Dodgers, even though I really like the Dodgers, is it's just so difficult to go back to back in any sport. So that's my only reason for saying not going with the Dodgers, because the Dodgers, I think they'll find by the time September, October comes around, they'll be in their groove to win. It's just so hard to go back to back. I can't commit yet.
The reality of it is we have 2 more months. We're coming upon August now. We got 2 solid months of baseball. It's going to be interesting because that's a lot of games, and I still think the Dodgers are going to pick it up and win it. But there's something telling me Milwaukee's going to beat them this year. Milwaukee's a good baseball team and consistent, and again, very well managed. A very, very well managed team. So we'll see what happens. But it's fun. There's 60 games left, and let's see what happens with the trade deadline, and we'll talk a lot more. We'll have a lot to talk about next week. Again, the big trade was Nelson Cruz to Tampa. There's going to be some other big trades, and we'll see how it all pans out, and we'll talk much more about it next week. And, coming down the stretch, it'll be fun to talk baseball. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up our next story, what's going on at the Olympics. Again, another mental health issue is supposedly. We all in America know pretty much what's gone on with Simone Biles, the GOAT, the greatest of all time in gymnastics, an incredible gymnast, incredible leader, just the best at the sport. So such a thrill to watch. As we know now, she has taken herself out of the Olympics fully, I guess, and she's not going to compete. And there's so many stories swirling around. I'm not there to know what actually happened, and there are many stories. The one I keep getting, it's a mental health issue. She just felt that she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, and she was doing it for others and not for herself. And that's the first story I've heard, but I've heard others. What's your take on the whole Simone Biles situation at the Olympics and how it's really put a blanket over the games?
So one of the things that people don't necessarily talk about when you hear them analyzing what's going on right now and speculating, the fact is she went through a traumatic experience with the team doctor. In fact, one of the things that we spoke about, what you mentioned, was she's the only one that went through it that's still competing.
Yeah, only one that went through that abuse.
And part of that, it's like she says she's competing for everybody else is to show those girls that were affected by that doctor. She's competing for them to say, like, hey, we're trying to get over it, or whatever the case is, or we can still do this. Your experience, my experience, sometimes we deal with things different. So when we start speculating and saying, oh, that's nothing, and I
can't speculate.
But people when you say mental health, it has a stigma where it's not something that we spoke about, especially our athletes never spoke about it. So when they mention it and say it's mental health, people look down or people talk smack and all that stuff, and it's baffling to me. But those same people go have their issues. We just don't know about it until it makes news. So I don't speculate. If somebody said they're going through mental health issues, by all means, go handle your business. Come back when you're ready, or if you're not, then that's fine too. It's none of my business if she doesn't. As far as I see, from her competition, from her past, she is the greatest of all time,
no doubt,
hands down. And this does not tarnish my opinion on her.
No,
and I want her
not.
to get better. And you know what? I have a little girl that could see Simone Biles and look up to her and see, hey, that may be something I could do one day. So kudos to her. Wish her the best.
I absolutely agree with you. I have a question for you, though. Naomi Osaka, a couple months ago, in a tournament, all of a sudden says the pressure's too much. There's mental health issues. She's not going to play. She's going to take some time off. Now it happens again with Simone Biles. Do you think it's becoming too easy for athletes when maybe they don't get their way, or things don't go well, or maybe they have had some type of mental breakdown? Do you think it's being overdone now? Do you think that we're talking about mental health too much? Because there's a lot of athletes out there that I'm sure have mental struggles, that know that they're in the sport. For instance, a swimmer. So these great swimmers that we have on the swim team, this Olympics, great team, winning medals like crazy. I'm sure there's people on those teams that have mental health. If you look at Michael Phelps, he clearly came out and said he had mental health issues. He's an advocate for mental health, for the security of people's minds now. That's important to him, but he continued to compete. Do you think it's being overused and as a easy out for people now, or what's your opinion?
No, it's not. It's not an easy out, because throughout history, when you're being affected by stuff, the whole stigma of you should be a boy, so you shouldn't show your emotion. You should be a man, so you should be providing for your family. So that doesn't mean you don't have issues. And then guess what? You have an issue. You turn to the bottle for your outlet. So then now you become an alcoholic. Like little stuff like that, because you're not able to express yourself. Yes, they're going through mental health issues. Everybody goes through it different. That doesn't mean that your mental health is any bigger than anybody else's or smaller. But it's not something that we talked about, and athletes are putting it on the map to say that, hey, they're, despite being great at what they do, they are humans too, and they go through it. There was at one point where, hey, you had basically throughout history, if you were part of the LGBTQ community, you hid in the closet. Now you're more open. There's no stigma against it. Like, hey, we accept everybody. It is okay to accept. You're going through it. Please get your help, because what the last thing we want to do is to say ignore you and say it's BS, and then next thing you know, you got a shotgun to your head, or you're hanging. We find yourself come with some side of suicide. So no, it's not. It's not a quick out. It's basically letting you know that if you have an issue, go take care of it, because a lot of people have issues.
Yeah, and I think, people in athletics, they're in the public eye all the time. Somebody like Simone Biles has been scrutinized, looked at under the microscope for years, but that's the same case with a lot of athletes, a Tom Brady, whoever it may be, a LeBron James. They have a lot of pressure. I'm sure in some part, I think nowadays, and what we've all gone through in America with the pandemic and in the lockdowns and things that have happened, I think that a lot of people have mental health issues. I really do. And they handle them in their own way. But in handling your mental health issues, do you feel like it's just okay to say, I'm handling them? I'm a professional athlete. A lot is expected of me. I get paid a whole lot of money to do what I do. You think it's okay for athletes to continually say, I have mental health issues and I have to step away?
Absolutely.
To me, I think you get to a point where it becomes an overused two words, mental health. I really do. And a lot is expected of people that are at the forefront of life, that are on television all the time, that are interviewed all the time. Yeah, it can lead to mental health issues. And it's more and more they need mental coaches. But it's, to me, I just hope it doesn't continue to snowball and be overdone, and people take advantage of those two words, mental health, when that's really not the problem. It may be the problem is they're not happy with their coach, or they're not happy with the teammate, or they're not happy the way they performed, and all of a sudden they can say mental health issues. I look at somebody like Serena Williams. Serena has been through a lot in her life. Right now, physically, her physicality is her problem. She's getting hurt a lot. She's getting older. And I'm sure, like everybody else, she has some mental health things that she fights with, but she always continues to get it up and keeps a lot of that private and continues to work hard and has a great presence in public. I'm more of an advocate of that type of attitude than people constantly, all of a sudden saying, I'm out. I have mental health issues. I just don't want it. I don't want it to become buzzwords for all of us, and then people that look up to people, individuals like Osaka and Biles, and look up to them and say, oh yeah, I'm like them, I have mental health issues because I look up to them. You have a responsibility when you're in their position to people to be strong.
Yes, they have a responsibility for themselves.
Well, that's number one, of course.
At what point are we going to take it serious? When they blow their heads off? No.
I think that's a bit drastic.
I thought he was just throwing out mental health. I thought she was just throwing out mental health. Who am I to differentiate the two? If you choose that, that's on you, and your whatever, that's on you. But I'm not here to judge you whether or not your mental health is serious or not. Let you go handle it. Go take care of it.
Absolutely. Just let's not overdo it. I got a couple of mental health questions for you, not for you personally. Are the men's Olympic basketball team having mental health issues?
No, they're having team cohesion issues.
Okay. And do you think that Conor McGregor has mental health issues?
Absolutely, he is. So they say when you have money, it kind of like brings out your true colors, and that's exactly it. We're seeing the real Conor McGregor. We're seeing the a-hole. We're seeing the lack of like situation awareness for anybody. The lack of class.
Yeah,
but
terrible.
guess what? He's controversial, and in his sports, controversy sells.
Do you think that he's good or bad for the game now? Now we got the situation where he's coming out and he's lashing out at everybody. You know, Khabib's father died, and he made light of that. He made light, you know, Poirier's wife, and talked terrible things. He continues to lash out. Is that just showmanship, trying to set up a fourth fight with Poirier? And of course, Dana White is, you know, really promoting it because it puts money in his pocket, in the UFC's pocket. I mean, what's real here with Conor McGregor? Is he good for the sport, bad for the sport? Should he just go off and count his millions and just shut up?
He's good for the sports, bad for society.
Well put, because it's reality. He is terrible for society. I mean, for me as a fan, and I like the UFC, and I like the cards that they have. And I mean, there's some really hardworking people in the UFC, really wanted to rise in the rankings. It's great to watch. But somebody like that, to me, is a distraction to the game, and he should just say goodbye and enjoy some of these other stars. But, you know, you look at these guys like Usman, who's a very big name in UFC. He's always bad-mouthing his opponents, but that's showmanship to me. That's building the audience, the TV audience, the audience in arena. So I think that's okay. But when you get is personal, you know, talking about death of a guy's father, those are very personal things. But all that ends up doing is bringing them out, and then, okay, I'm gonna fight you. So I'll go back to the same question: is it showmanship, or is Conor McGregor just, for lack of a better word, an idiot?
He's classless, and there's a difference between having a rivalry and then just straight up not being a good human.
Yeah.
And that's what he is right now. He is vile, and he's showing his true colors. This is the Conor McGregor that was the man inside, and the money just brought it out. It's gonna sell some tickets, and it's gonna sell some pay-per-view, but I won't be buying it because I'm not going to support that.
Yeah. I agree with you. And, you know, it's funny, the last fight, you know, as it came to the last moment, an hour before the fight, what did I do? I purchased the fight. And I was glad I did, because I got to see the way he went down and everything, and I couldn't have been happier. But, you know, the UFC continues to grow. They continue to have great cards. They've got a lot of hardworking talent there, and good for that sport. A lot of people love it. It really outshines boxing now. Boxing it's tough to find the big fights right now in boxing.
Yeah, in order for you to find a big fight, you got to get a YouTuber to fight with. A washed up, we say, an MMA fighter.
Yeah. Now the latest Canelo Alvarez fight has been off the table, and that was against Poole. That was going to be a great fight over money. They were supposed to fight here in Vegas, I think, actually September 4th, I think. It's somewhere around that time, and now it's off the table because of money. But, you know, both sides will give a little, and it'll get put back on for October or something. But anyway, sports nowadays, I mean, they're our outlet. When we didn't have them, it was kind of tough on everybody that loves sports. But a lot of sports are going on right now. The Olympics are great. We haven't even started track and field yet, which will be wonderful. Baseball.
Can't wait.
I know, track and field, we love it. I love those record times. But it's a lot of fun right now. I just hope that the mental health issues, you know, get straightened out and people get the help they need. We give nothing but kudos to Simone Biles. What an incredible representative of the United States in gymnastics, and as a person, and as an example for young people. So we only want to applaud her and say, please get the help you need. And I hope that, you know, we all find out a little bit more about it. And I'd like to know more about what happened and what she's doing to help herself and others. And the same thing with Osaka. I haven't heard much from her other than, you know, she needed to take some time off and played a little tennis in the Olympics and lit the torch, but I haven't heard her come out and say much. But anyways, this has been a great show. We've had some very, very interesting subjects that are important in life. mental health for all of us is important, and that's why we do shows like this. Jack and I enjoy this. We enjoy bringing it to the public, and we hope it gives you 30 minutes of enjoyment every time you watch our show, and you learn something from it. You have fun with it. You get a few laughs, but we want to, of course, thank you all for watching. Again, this 30 minutes went so fast today. It's incredible. We easily could do an hour show, but we don't think that you want to watch us for an hour straight. 30 is about great. So thanks for being viewers. Thanks for helping our audience grow. Thanks for sharing it with others. Continue to do so. Watch us at all the social outlets, Roku and YouTube, and of course at WWDBTV. Jack, I want to thank you for coming to us from New York for 4 weeks. We thank you for coming in on Zoom. We know you're busy out there. Again, our next show will be August the 10th, and we'll be back in the studio, and we've got some guests that we're lining up for to come into the studio, some great athletes. So we're looking forward to it. We thank you for watching. Jack, have a safe trip home. Again, we won't be on air next week. It's going to be a week off. I'm going to take my vacation, and Jack will still be on his vacation. But we'll see you at the first part of August, and we'll also have our NFL show starting. So we'll be doing Let's Talk Sports and Let's Talk NFL. Thanks for watching. Continue to watch us. Jack, you want to take us out of here?
I just want to say thank you for watching, and I appreciate you guys. The audience has been building. I want to put a shout out to Adrian. Adrian's in our he's in our comment box. He appreciated our NBA show, so I want to give him a shout out.
Shout out to Adrian. He's a good guy, and he loves our show. And that's the gentleman that I told you. He said he didn't know anything about sports till he found our show one day, and he started watching it, and now he's talking sports all the time. So, man, that feels good, right? That's what we're about. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
That's what we're about. Again, safe travels home to Las Vegas. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. We'll see you soon, Jack. Thank you for everything. Audience, thank you for everything. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.